Dr. R. Sugaraj Samuel. He is working as a professor in physics at New College, Chennai. He is also training students for IIT JEE, AIEEE and BIT SAT. He has more than 16 years experience in both teaching and research. He has published a book titled The Complete Handbook of Bachelor of Electronic Science Practicals, which is prescribed for the syllabus for BSc Electronic Science by University of Madras. He has presented papers in several national and international conferences and has also conducted many training programs and workshops to motivate energetic students. His research areas are ultrasonic, polymers, crystal growth, and photovoltaic systems. He is experienced in both regular classroom teaching and online teaching as well.
Welcome to UGC lecture series on oscillations and waves. In this lecture, we are going to see the superposition of two SHMs in perpendicular direction. We have got an approach called graphical approach for analyzing the superposition, and also we will be taking up the superposition of oscillations with different frequencies in this lecture. Before we actually start the lecture, let us see the outline of today's lecture. Superposition of SHMs in perpendicular direction with same frequency. The method we are going to use is graphical method, and also the superposition of SHMs in perpendicular direction with different frequencies, or in particular with a frequency ratio of 1:2 followed by Lissauge's figures. We are familiar with the superposition of two SHMs in perpendicular direction concept. The final result or the resultant path taken by the point will be a straight line or an ellipse or circle in the clockwise or anti-clockwise direction based on the amplitude variation and based on the phase difference between them. All these are known to us. Now, is there any other approach? We have discussed the mathematical approach, and is there any approach we have for the analysis? We have got a very useful analysis, very easy to follow analysis, that is called the graphical approach. Let us see how to follow the graphical approach for the superposition of SHMs happening in perpendicular direction. Two circles with radii A1 and A2 are to be chosen. They produce oscillations in the perpendicular directions, maybe x and y. A1 along x axis, A2 along y axis. P1 and P2 are the projection points on x and y axis respectively, and P is the intersection point which moves in the resultant direction. When we read these points as abstract points, we are not able to visualize anything. If these points are shown as a diagram, a graphical representation, I think these have got a meaning. Let us see how these points could be implemented on a figure or a diagram. This is the implementation of the points which we have just now seen. Here A1 is the radius of this circle, A2 is the radius of this circle. A1 produces an SHM. We know these concepts already because its projection on x or y axis will produce simple harmonic motion. So, P1 is the point which is moving with uniform angular frequency omega, which produces oscillation along the x axis. The same case is happening here, but in the y direction. So, P1 and P2 are the points which are oscillating in the x as well as y direction. And what is the combination of these 2 points? See, this is the resultant point P. The resultant point will move in a particular path governed by this the movement of the point P1 as well as P2. Because of this oscillation, the variation of the resultant point, the point P, will be happening on a two dimensional plane. Both the x and y variations are happening simultaneously or together, it is happening. What would be the resultant movement? Let us see the diagrams further. This is how the movements would happen when the resultant point is considered. The previous one was just a static point, and this shows when the two oscillations are simultaneously happening, the resultant point is taking this direction. This is the case in which the phase difference is not found, it is 0. See, it is starting from the x value here, it is starting from y value here. So, no phase difference, it will be a straight line happening along the first and third quadrant. I hope the equation is also familiar to us, because this lecture is purely devoted for the graphical concept. And here also, when the phase difference is there, see here they have introduced a phase difference of pi by 4. What will happen when there is a phase difference of pi by 4? The shape is an ellipse, inclined ellipse, and here it is happening in the clockwise direction. This does not have any phase initially x, but y has got a phase of pi by 4, that is 45 degree, 180 divided by 4, it is 45 degree. So, this will be the shape like that. For all the special cases like pi is 45 degree, 90 degree, then 135 degree, 180 degree, all these are possible, and we can have different shapes. This is the graphical representation or graphical method of analyzing superposition in the perpendicular direction for two SHMs. What will be the final case? Let us have a look at that also. When we take up the consolidation of all the special cases, these shapes we will be getting. This method seemed to be a easier and better method for obtaining the resultant path taken by the particle on which the two SHMs act perpendicular to each other. So, this is the graphical way of analyzing the oscillation. Now, we move on to a very important case. This discussion, what we have just now seen, was for same frequency. The frequency was not altered. There was a match between the frequency. This is omega for x, and y also has got omega. So, no variation in frequency. So, this is called 1:1 ratio. Both the frequencies are same. Now, what will happen when we alter the frequency? Any one frequency has to be omega, the other frequency should be different. So, for easy analysis, we can take even the frequency of the second one as 2 omega. We can have fractions also, but for easy analysis, let us start with the 2 omega. So, 1:2 ratio is also a very familiar ratio, very important ratio, because that analysis leads to further understanding of the superposition. I think we can take up the relaxation on the same frequency now, that is the frequency ratio 1:2 can be taken up for discussion. Superposition of two perpendicular SHMs with different frequencies. Let the two forces act on the particle in the perpendicular direction, say x and y. The first restoring force alone produces an SHM given by this equation, A x is equal to A cos omega t. The second restoring force alone produces a SHM given by y is equal to A2 cos 2 omega t plus phi. Here I would like to emphasize on the two different frequencies. See, here it is omega, here it is 2 omega. If the frequencies are same, 1:1 ratio, this will also be omega, but here we have purposely introduced this 2. So, the ratio of 1:2 is taken up for discussion. Of course, the methodology is the same. The final term should contain x as well as y in a single expression, and we should give the graphical importance or graphical touch to that final expression. What is the shape, that also we should know. there are some prerequisites, especially in this case. We should have the prior knowledge of coordinate geometry. Once we look at a equation, when we have a final expression, we will be in a position, we should be in a position to say what shape we will get from the given expression. So, that prerequisite is required. Of course, all the shapes may not be interpreted from the given expression. Some familiar terms or usual terms will be able to get a mathematical or graphical interpretation. So, let us go ahead in handling these two equations, that means mixing up of these two equations. What is the technique we are going to follow? The two SHMs are once again shown here for comparison. Of course, A1, A2 are the amplitudes of the two SHMs. Pi is the phase difference between them. They have different angular frequencies, omega and 2 omega. By the trigonometric identity, let us expand as usual the equation for y as like this. It is cos A plus B form. So, cos A cos B minus sin A sin B. Using that identity, we have expanded. Just for the variation, we have taken the cos terms here, because cos also is equivalent term. This also will have an SHM. So, we have taken up for a change cos terms for this SHM. So, we have expanded with the trigonometric identity. Then rewriting the first equation for cos and sin and putting them again in the equation for y, rewriting will finally bring this equation as the final equation. These are all just mathematical simplification, self explanatory. I would like to highlight upon this final term that we have. See, here we have mixed x and y together. The objective is met with. This equation has got both y as well as x in them. Originally, we have considered the two equations for x and y separately. Now, by the mathematical technique, we have mixed them up together and finally arrived at this equation. Will it be possible for us to simplify further? Let us have a look at the equation. This equation has got a square root term also. It is marked as power 1 by 2. So, it is actually a lengthy expression. Further simplification leads to this form. After squaring, because we have a square root, it is better to leave away with the square root. So, we square and rearrange the term, the above equation further to get this final equation. This is the equation of fourth degree. How do we say it is a fourth degree equation? See, here an x square and here also there is an x square. So, when we multiply and open the bracket, definitely x power 4 will be there. So, this equation is the fourth degree equation. In general, this represents a closed curve having two loops. This equation will have two loops. As I said, the prerequisite for analysis like this is the coordinate geometry, the knowledge of coordinate geometry. So, with that knowledge, we arrive at the final expression. This represents, the final equation represents a closed curve and also it has got two loops. That is the final conclusion we have got here. Is there any possibility of visualizing it graphically? Let us have a look at it. When the phi is 1, it is possible only with special cases. So, we go ahead with the special cases. The frequency ratio is omega 1 is to omega 2. That is the main thing we have got in this lecture. With varying frequency, we are handling this case. So, the equation further reduces to this form, and I think this is the final equation we arrive when we put phi is equal to 0, that means no phase difference, and it has got a perfect square kind of term. And further simplification, we take a square root and rearrange to have this final equation x square is equal to a particular term. Here we have y. This represents the equation of coincident parabola with vertices 0, minus a2. The coordinate geometry concepts help us to arrive at this conclusion. What is the meaning of coincident parabola? There are two parabolas. The final equation suggests that there should be two loops. but here we do not have loop in the final expression when we have a special case of phi is equal to 0. So, we conclude that it is the coincident parabola, one parabola resting upon the other, maybe retracing the path, because it has to be a closed loop, because one parabola resting upon the other retracing the path leads to a kind of shape. Let us have a typical shape. This is the shape. The vertices, it has got minus a2 is here in the y axis. So, this point is 0 comma minus a2, and here we have plus a2, and the movement is happening like this along this parabola. It goes up to this point and returns. The arrow mark suggests that it retraces the path. It goes up and comes back, goes up and comes back. So, this is how the resultant point would move when the special case of phi is equal to 0 is imposed on the equation, the final equation. We have got a shape on the two dimensional plane. It is coinciding parabola. What will happen if we relax the phase difference phi is equal to 0? Let us have that as a special case here and take up the discussion further. See, when the value phi, the phase difference phi is taken as 45 degree or pi by 4 for the frequency ratio 1:2, omega 1:2 omega 2 is 1:2, we will have this kind of shape. See, the coincidence of the parabola is now moving away, because there is a phase difference of pi by 4 introduced. Hope you could appreciate the graphical method rather than considering the analytical method. So, it is a combination of both. For some special cases like this, we can take up the easy method of graphical representation and understand the movement of the point, the resultant point. It is, see, typically taking this shape, the coinciding parabola is slightly moved away, leading to two loops which we have earlier suggested, and it is having the shape like this. In this manner, we can have lots and lots of special cases, pi as 90 degree, pi as 180 degree, and then pi as 270 degree, and in between values also 135, all these are possible. So, what will happen to the shape when we have all the special cases together? It will be a good sight for our eye when we have all the special cases just shown as a single consolidated shape. Let us have a look at the final thing. So, this is how it is. The more special cases for the same ratio, that is very important, that we have to keep in mind. It is for 1:2 ratio only when the phase difference is 0, and here it is pi by 4, it is pi by 2, it is 3 pi by 4 and pi. See, the loops are getting formed, different shape. In pi by 2 it is symmetrical, we have a horizontal 8 shape, these are the shapes, and of course, it is a closed loop. The condition, the path will continue forever. See, this is like the shape of infinity itself. So, the path will continue forever as the oscillation continues. So, we have taken up the ratio of 1:2 case for our understanding. We have analyzed it graphically and also graphically and analytically, and got the different shapes for 1:2 ratio. Will it be possible to relax the case of ratio further? 1:3, what will happen? 1:4, what will happen? Is it possible to have 2:3, the mixed? One is not kept constant always, we can have even 2:3, like that. Different ratios are also possible. Of course, higher order mathematics will be needed for analytical approach, and of course, graphical approach will be quite simpler comparing to the analytical approach. So, based on the combinations, we can have a consolidated view of the different ratios also. Those are called Lissajous figures, and it has got lots of applications. We have got the shape of a horizontal 8, the 2 loops. When we relax the condition further, we will have some complicated shapes. Those shapes are called Lissajous figures. These were analyzed by a scientist, Julius Antony Lissajous, in 1857, and these Lissajous curves have lots of applications. They are used to find the unknown frequency, and they are used in cathode ray oscilloscope, and of course in graphic designing and in printing techniques. These Lissajous figures have got quite lot of applications, and also in astronomy they have got applications. The path of star or a celestial body, if it is governed by several forces, by several heavenly bodies like planets, stars, so it will be taking a complicated path. Of course, in the case of astronomy, even the 2-dimensional case has to be relaxed. It should be the 3-dimensional path, because the x, y and z all 3 can vary. So, this knowledge of Lissajous figures will help us to understand the movement of even celestial bodies when they are governed by several forces. In the case of a CRT, cathode ray tube or cathode ray oscilloscope, the x and y movement takes the point, the electron striking point, to any desired point. So, I would like to highlight upon the use of that. We have the heating filament here and the focusing system, and there is a horizontal plate which will produce the vertical deflections up and down, and we have got vertically kept plates that will produce horizontal deflections on the beam, electron beam, thus covering the entire 2-dimensional plane. The Lissajous figures have got application in the operation of the electron beam, controlling electron beam in the CRT, cathode ray tube. It is a very important application, and with the help of the Lissajous figures we can even find out the unknown frequency. We have to count the number of loops possible in the case of Lissajous figures. So, let us see how many types of Lissajous figures are possible as far as our understanding goes, like the ratio, fixed ratio 1:2, 1:3, 2:3, etc., with of course the phase difference of 0, 45, 90, then 180 and all that. Let us have a look at the collection of all of them. This is how it is obtained. This is 1:1 ratio shown at the extreme left, and the 1:2 ratio is shown here, 1:3 ratio is shown here, 3:4 ratio, 5:6 ratio. Just to have an understanding, some special ratios are taken. And how Lissajous arrived at these shapes? He has used 2 tuning forks kept in the perpendicular direction like this. One will produce vibration in the x axis, x direction, the other one will produce vibration in the y direction. The combination of them will be observed on a plane like this, and it is very difficult to maintain the phase difference. So, when one is starting the vibration from extreme, the other one start the vibration from the mean point or the middle point. Lissajous, without having the much sophisticated techniques, manually did these experiments and he could plot the different shapes. So, if the frequency of any one oscillation is known, the frequency of the other oscillation could also be identified or calculated by counting the number of loops. If the ratio is 1:2, there will be 2 loops. If the ratio is 1:3, there will be 3 loops. So, if one frequency is known, the other frequency could easily be calculated. Similarly, in the case of 3:2 ratio, there will be 2 loops along the x axis and 3 loops along the y axis. So, based on these different combinational values, the unknown frequency could be calculated. Once again, Lysergis figures have got applications in the printers, plotters and the graphic techniques. Both the x and y axis are governed by different commands, maybe vibrations or movements. All these will give a combinational effect on the resultant point, which is the print point, that will produce the typical picture on a 2-dimensional plane. So, we have got the concept of Lysergis figures. Lysergis figures are obtained by the superposition of the simple harmonic, 2 simple harmonic motions happening in the perpendicular direction, and the resultant path taken by the point is called the Lysergis figures. Different shapes we get, and they have got some applications. The applications are also discussed. Let us see what all we have discussed in this entire lecture. The session summary. In this session, we have seen the concepts of superposition of SHM in perpendicular directions with frequency ratio 1:2. We have followed the analytical method and also the graphical method for the discussion. The special cases have been discussed, like different frequencies, different phase differences. As an extension to this, the concept of Lysergis figures have also been discussed in this lecture. How the Lysergis figures are used in the case of CRT, cathode ray tube, and also in the case of plotters, graphers, and also how it is used for identifying the unknown frequency, and the experimental setup followed by Lysergis in obtaining the different Lysergis figures. Before we wind up today's lecture, let us test our understanding by answering these questions. Discuss the analytical method of superposition of 2 SHMs in the perpendicular directions with frequency ratio of 1:2. Discuss about the Lysergis figures and also mention few applications of Lysergis figures. So, we have seen the concept of superposition of waves with frequency ratio 1:2, and of course, by employing the concepts related to Lysergis figures, we have also covered the superposition of SHMs in perpendicular direction with many possible frequency ratios. So, with this I would like to conclude this lecture. Thank you for your patient listening.